Hi guys, in this assignment, I'm going to show you how to make a ceramic mug from clay using a slab, which as you know, a slab is a flat piece of clay. To get started, I'm going to show you the assignment that's in Canvas. Okay, so in Canvas, you'll find the assignment that's called Tar Paper Mug Set. In this assignment, you'll be creating 2 mugs using tar paper to help you to keep the form of your mugs. You'll be focusing on slab construction, adding texture, scoring and slipping, and adding a handle. Materials are listed here. And today what I'm going to show you is how to get started with a wedged piece of clay to roll an even slab and to shape it in the correct size so that it can become a mug, and using tar paper to secure it. So you can look through the assignment in Canvas. And how I'll be grading this is that on your craftsmanship, are your slabs even? Did you make sure you attached your seams well? Is it staying together? Is it smooth? Functionality, is it sturdy? Is the handle comfortable to hold? And your designs, how are you designing it? If you're adding texture, are you adding a creative texture? Are you adding elements to make it more interesting? And then completing it on time and labeling it on the bottom with your name. There are a couple of videos linked. You can check those out. They're just explaining different ways that people show how to make mugs. One of them is talking about tar paper and one is not. So I'm going to go back to the demonstration. So for today, you're going to need a clay mat, a pin tool or needle tool, a rubber rib, the template to make the rectangle for this the cylinder, water or slip, a rolling pin, wooden sticks, and wedged clay, and then tar paper. So the first thing to do is to get your clay that's wedged. I've already pre-wedged mine. So the next thing I'm going to do is get it into configuration. And again, I don't want to press like too much because I don't want to make it too thin. These are my slats or my sticks to measure the thickness. As you can see, clay is much thicker than that at this point. I'm going to roll it so that my rolling pin stays above those sticks to ensure that I have a slab that is the same thickness all the way through. This is my stencil, which you're going to have a stencil. You'll just have a piece of paper that you cut out this rectangle. I'm going to make sure my rectangle fits. Just to roll it a little bit more because I want to make sure it's as even as I can get it. Okay, the next step is to strengthen the clay particles by using water and a rib tool. I'm going to go ahead and just gently rib the clay. Adding water first is helpful so that your rib tool can glide easily across the clay. I use the flat edge, not the curved edge. You want to compress that. I noticed that there are a couple of air bubbles that I missed when I was wedging. They look like little blisters. I'm going to pop those. And you can flip it over. Don't press too hard when you're ribbing because then your clay will become thinner. Water. I don't know who's trying to enter into my Zoom room. Obviously, I'm just doing this for a demonstration. That's kind of weird. Interesting when people are hacking Zoom rooms, right? Pop the bubble. Okay. So next I'm ready to go ahead and put my template on there. So I've ribbed both sides. Put my template on there and just go ahead and use your pin tool and then just cut the excess off. I'll make another video to show the next step. Today I'm just going to get as far as making my cylinder and making the bottom of my mug and just putting that together. An easy way to take the clay off of the mat is to just pick up the mat, flip it over in my hand, and peel the cloth off. Use the other side because it's more dry. I'm just going to set this down, remove my stencil. Okay, sorry about that phone call I had to take. All right, so you have your slab, you've cut out your template, and the next thing we're going to do is you're going to carefully roll that up. It's going to be very floppy. Well, before we roll it up, we're gonna score it and to attach it. But I just wanted to show you what tar paper is. Tar paper is a pretty much waterproof material that goes under shingles on a roof so that roofs don't leak. And we're going to use this to support the shape of our mug. Okay, so before doing that, I'm going to lay it back down and at an angle, I'm going to cut each end where I'm going to attach. So I'm cutting it down right here. And it's at about at a 45-degree angle, which is slanted like a diagonal. And then the same thing on this other end, but not on the same side. Just flip it over and then do the same thing. So they're on opposite sides, right? So you see that I have it scored here at an angle, and then I cut it here at an angle. Okay, the next thing is to score and slip. You're not going to need a lot of water if your clay is really wet like mine is. And also, I would recommend wedging your clay quite a bit just so that it's not super wet when you start. Okay, then go ahead and add your water or slip. And then you can go ahead and attach those together. You see now that those two edges are going to join together and they're going to fit more tightly than they would if you didn't cut those edges. If you just left them like rectangular, they wouldn't go together as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend. You want to keep your hand on the inside while you blend. That's a good idea. Blend first with your finger before you use your rib so you don't apply too much pressure. And the same thing inside. You can lay it right down sideways. I'm going to tilt it at an angle so you can see. But when it's laying down, I can press against the table to get a really good connection between those two pieces. Okay, now I see this side, I need to blend more. Take some water. And at this point, I would recommend using your rib tool and ribbing upwards and sort of diagonally and down, whatever makes sense. To really blend it, blend the top. Make sure your hands are wet as you smooth things out, okay? Right now it looks a little bit oval. Just, you can kind of just fix it. I just kind of turn it and set it down like that to kind of shape it. Does not look round. Don't worry. Next, I'm going to use my piece of tar paper. And it almost goes all the way around. And I'm going to, I forgot to write down on my list, I'm going to use rubber bands to hold this together. Okay, so once I have it closed, make sure your clay was really wet, like make sure you wet this down so that your tar paper will stick better. We're going to keep the tar paper on while it gets into the leather hard condition, right? So you want to keep it, it's going to keep it round. Without the tar paper, it's going to flop around and it's not going to be very round, okay? So you're going to just go ahead, smooth it up. And then you can even kind of roll it. If you roll it too much, it is going to stretch, so don't go too crazy. The next thing to do is to go ahead and make a slab that you're going to use for the bottom of the mug. So I'm going to just wedge my extra clay that I have, my scraps. Okay, and roll that. Again, use your slab sticks. And then literally just take your mug, take more time to get it round. Unless you're okay with it not being round, but just take a little bit more time. Be patient with it. And once you feel like it's as round as it's going to get, then you will flip that over and trace it onto your slab. So you're going to trace the bottom, cut it out. Throw away the scraps. And now I'm going to score them, score my edges. It's okay if this doesn't look perfect. I'm going to end up smoothing it all out once it's attached. Again, my clay is super wet. I'm not going to need a ton of slip. Okay, add water to make your slip. And then press them together. Again, double check it one more time to get it as round of a circle as you can. Yes, these are handmade, so they're not going to be perfect. And as I press it down, I'm just checking to make sure it still looks round. And I can still shape it at this point anyway. Okay, the next thing to do is you might want to remove your tar paper at this point so it's easier to attach your bottom. I hold my hand on the inside. I can just go ahead and start ribbing the clay from the bottom up, or I could set it upside down and I could rib downwards. This is what it looks like. Rib downwards like this, but I want to keep it upside down so it stays put for me. So it's okay. My circle was a little bigger, but that's good because I needed the extra clay to kind of smush down to blend into my cup. I'm gonna rib it around. Again, the clay is very wet at this point. So I don't want to go too crazy. Once it's leather hard, then I can kind of refine it more. Okay, so that's attached well on the outside. On the inside, I'd recommend getting one of the paintbrushes for my desk, the bamboo paintbrushes. And inside you can kind of blend that seam where the cup is attached to the base. Okay, so then once again, double check it for its roundness. I'm going to use this as a tool to kind of make it more round inside at the bottom. It's difficult to get your hand in there, so that's why the paintbrush comes in handy to smooth things out. Okay, so the next thing to do is to, again, add your tar paper. If you don't get this far today, just make sure that everything is wrapped up really well in a plastic bag and in a container. Okay, so I'm going to put my tar paper on. It is helpful, like I had mentioned earlier, to kind of wet the tar paper or the clay so that it really sticks. And then you can come on up and grab a rubber band and we'll just rubber band it on there to keep its shape. And then once it's rubber banded, then you can kind of go ahead and smooth things out and perfect them. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to make handles and attach handles, and we'll talk about carving a design.